Hello, chaps. Welcome to the show. Little Hugo there. Okay, hi guys. Sorry about that. I'm about 6 years old. I'm very juvenile. I do apologize. Anyway, quick few shout outs before we get into the show. My good friend Steve has sent in this really unique little Timex. I've never seen a dial like it. This is from I think it's either 1976 or 1974. Still keeping good time. A survivor, a real little trooper. Yeah, very interesting. So thank you, Steve, for that. And also a quick shout out to my good friend Dwayne, who sent me this fantastic book all about a fighter pilot in World War II. So I'm going to have tremendous fun reading that, so thank you so much, Dwayne. Anyway, quick couple of thank yous before we get into the episode. So let's roll the intro and get into today's show. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. You join me back here in the war room. Today I'm recording the video from home, as a lot of the items that I'm going to be talking about, I keep them at home. 10 items that I feel every watch enthusiast should at least consider owning. If not, you've probably got a lot of these things yourself, so I just want to share my own recommendations and perhaps a few extras that might be useful to you. It's worthy to point out that all of the items, with the exception of one, which is free, make fantastic gifts. So I know, even though it's like 90 degrees here in New York, it's a very hot September, Christmas will creep up on us quicker than you can say, okay, hi guys, welcome to the show. Now, if you recall in the video I did last week, I mentioned during my time off social media, I bought, it was 2 weeks, I bought, I think it was 5 or 6 watches. Now, most of them were to make videos, although 2 of them, or maybe 3, were indulgences, and today's wristwatch check is one of them. This is an insanely cool Citizen yacht timer from the early 90s. I had no intention of buying it. Yeah, I know, you've heard that one before, right? But this is actually one of the coolest little pickups I've found in a long time. I've always loved Citizen. In fact, a few of you are asking, why don't I have a Citizen in the collection? Well, the truth is, before I had a channel, I owned tons of Citizens. Big fan of the brand. I just haven't owned them in the last few years, so it's really great to have one back in the collection. It was brand new condition, still had the stickers on the back. It came on a rubber strap, although I've put it on a mesh bracelet because I feel the mesh kind of complements its maritime purpose, I guess you could say. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it too much because I'm going to save it for a full review. I got such a bargain on this, and I think it is a sweet spot. I'm starting to see, when we think of vintage watches, we typically think of mechanical pieces. The digital market is really growing. You can pick up amazing digital vintage watches like this. Very retro. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it's a market that should be explored because there's just so much on offer. I'm really chuffed to bits with this. Very fun. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'll save it for the full review. So let's move on to the 10, well, technically 11 items. Now, the first thing is a spring bar tool. Sounds pretty straightforward. So number 1 is a spring bar tool. Now, I recommend, I've just bought, this is a second one because I want to have one for here and one for Gentry HQ, or the Watchtower, as some of you started calling it. This is from Bergeon, and this is the number 6767F. Bergeon, if you're not familiar with this brand, it's pretty much the industry standard. They make all the tools that watchmakers use. It's Swiss made. This is pretty much the best you can buy. Really sturdy. It is a little bit more expensive. I think they're about 35 bucks. You pick them up on eBay, on Amazon. but it's worth it, because if you've ever tried adjusting your spring bar, this is the best tool. You want to get a professional tool. You don't want to damage the watch, scratch the watch. It's something you're going to use a lot, especially if you're like me, changing straps all the time, seasons change. So number one. Number two is a watch case. I've done a video on several different watch cases, and it's worthy to point out that most of the items covered today are all under $100. Now, I have various levels of watch cases. This one is from Colareb. This is well, as you can tell, it's a beautifully handmade, high quality luxury item. And this contains 4 watches. I have done an in-depth review, and you have this beautiful suede kind of tongue in the middle to separate them. In the video I did, I shared, where is it? Actually, I think it's somewhere here. Let me just get it. It's somewhere down here. This is why I'm in the war room. Here we go. There we go. So this is a more affordable option. This is about, I think about 20 bucks, 20 bucks. Sorry, it's covered in dust. This houses 8, mass-produced, very affordable thing. The construction is not very nice at all. You can see all the gluing it's kind of come apart here. I don't really use this enough to justify spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I use this when I travel for, let's say I went back to England. If you remember, a long time ago, I took with me most of my collection. So I only really needed it for one trip. If I'm going to stay in my house in England for up to a month, which does happen, I'll take that. But for short trips, when I want 3 or 4 watches, I will take this. Now, when you do tuck the watch in, make sure that you put a cloth in between any that are on bracelets, so the bracelet doesn't rub against the back of the watch and, unnecessary scratches. That's the only downfall about these kind of cases. Same goes for watch rolls. The best kind of cases are those circular tube ones. I'll put an image so you can see what I'm saying, because the watch doesn't move. And again, you can spend hundreds, or you can go for more affordable versions. Depends how much you're going to use it. The Colareb one, I probably use more because I tend to go away for the weekend more often, and I wanted something a little bit more luxurious, and the size of this is just perfect for a carry-on or your man bag, or whatever the kids are calling it these days. Yeah, so number 3, well, it's watch straps. I mean, nothing changes a watch more than a good strap. You can really prolong the life, almost get a whole new experience with a watch by changing the strap. And I've done tons of videos about this. Actually, I haven't done one for a while. I will do one before Christmas. But guys, the crucial information to remember here is go with a reputable seller. There's a lot of price gouging when it comes to watch straps, especially higher end watch straps. There's no real need to spend over $100. I'm not going to mention any names, but there are retailers that just price gouge, and it's kind of disgusting. Go with high quality, handmade, small companies like Rios from Germany. Beautiful straps. I've reviewed several. I wear it on my Navi. I haven't got my Navi timer here, but yeah, check those out. Colareb, of course, shout out to Colareb. I love their straps. And they're not that expensive, they're not that expensive. These are luxury handmade straps. There's even Swiss Tech, or is it Tech Swiss, who make the genuine crocodile and alligator straps, and they're about $50. Phenomenal value, phenomenal quality. I've reviewed a ton from Holbens. They are my recommended retailer of choice. They ship worldwide. There's Wrist Candy Watch Club for the Natos. If you want something a little bit more military and attaches at both spring bars, so in case you get a spring bar failure. And then is of course rubber straps. Holborn has a ton. Check out, I think it's Bonetto Cinturini, and of course stainless steel, your mesh straps. I think Holbens has those too, but you can find them on eBay as well. Have a look back at my videos. I'll put a link to the last one I did. I need to do a new one. I will do a new one. So straps, definitely. I've got to admit, my strap collection is almost as big as my watch collection now. So yeah, it can get addictive, but yeah, it's a really fun thing to do, and also to match your attire. So and seasonal as well. You know, we're coming into autumn now, which is the best time to wear straps. Anyway, number 4 is a beta watch. Well, sounds pretty obvious, but I do feel that everyone should have a beta watch in your collection. It's a worthy accessory to anybody's collection. Depends on what your budget is. I highly recommend having a G-Shock. That's what I use, although my beta watch has recently changed to my ProTrek because the big screen is really great and very legible when doing cardio. You know, you're covered in sweat. That is what I use my beta watch primarily for. Although if you are a keen gardener, or perhaps you, I don't know, restore cars, or you know, stuff that requires a lot of manual labor, you don't want to bash your nice piece. If you're a one collection guy, they combine the beta watch with that one watch, you know. So I know a friend of mine, who is a one watch collection type of a chap, and he has a Rolex Submariner. That's all he wears, and he will use the dive time bezel to time his jogging, and then he'll wear the same watch. That's fine. It's totally up to your interpretation. My beta watch of choice is the G-Shock. I just feel, in terms of its price, its sturdiness, I'm gonna say its robustness, also the features it offers, it's very, very difficult to beat. And you know, you can wear it and just forget about it. Concentrate on whatever the task is. Okay, so that was number 4. Let's move on to number 5, and that is books. I feel books rarely complement a watch collection. They are a wonderful accessory because they are an invaluable source of information. If you want to learn more about the history of horology, about this story, because horology is not just watches, as I've discussed many times, it's almost the history of civilization itself. It runs parallel to the history of civilization. Timekeeping has always been fundamental. Watches is just a tiny part of it. Anyway, I don't want to get on that long ramble, but I love books. And I think especially these days where we're living in an increasingly more online dependent world, secondhand books are incredibly affordable. You can pick up such gems, a wonderful source, a reference material if you really want to get into collecting. And every brand has their specialized books. They're not that expensive. What is civilization's downfall is our gain. So yeah, buy books, definitely buy books. That was number 5. Number 6, and that is a reference device. Now, what do I mean by reference device? I feel every collection should have either a quartz watch or perhaps an app. There's Tool Watch, which is a pretty good app, a reference device to sync your watches in your collection, to monitor the accuracy of especially your mechanical, automatic, manual wind, those pieces, and actually your quartz pieces too. I did try Tool Watch. I just forgot to update. I'm just too busy, you know. And this goes back to why I've rarely become dependent on my ProTrek. This has atomic timekeeping. It receives a signal. I synchronize all my watches in my collection to this, and this is how I tell if a watch is gaining time or losing too much time, especially for reviews, that kind of thing. Some people are really big into their accuracy, other people not so much, but this is what I depend on. You don't have to have a G-Shock or a digital watch. You can have a quartz watch, it's fine, whatever you know suits you. But I think a reference device in a collection is essential. Okay, so that was number 6. Number 7, while we mentioned an app, here is a really cool app that I recently discovered. Actually, I had been aware of it for a while, but it's not until recently I really discovered its full potential, and I'm talking about Snups. I gotta admit, when I first found out about it, I thought it was like another Instagram, and I was like, I don't need another app on my phone. I've already got too much going on, you know. But actually, Snups offers something a lot better. Now, if you guys recall, I used this little notebook that my good friend Art gave me. I was using it to keep track of what is in my collection, what watches I had sold, what watches had left my collection. You guys know, if you're familiar with the channel, every 6 months I do a state of the collection. Every single day, almost to the hour, somebody asked me, oh, did you sell this watch? What happened to this watch? You know, looking back at my old videos. Well, Snaps, I can share with you in real time what is in my collection. The way they've organized it is very, very clever. It's tailor-made for collectors. You don't have to use it just for watches, although that's how primarily I'm using it. I'm still updating it as we speak. But you can add a shelf and subdivide your pictures. For example, I have one section all my divers, I have another section with all my chronographs or my pilot watches or my vintage watches, my digital watches, for example. Actually, I've got to update it. I've got to put this one in it. And I'm gonna add a shelf of watches that I've sold, or because that way I can keep, you know, tabs on it, because I forget. You know, my watch collection has exploded, so it's really perfect for that. And the best thing is I can post it and all of you guys can see what is currently in my collection, so I don't have to do a state of the collection every 2 minutes, and you guys can keep track of what's in my collection. Guys, it's free to join. I do recommend it, and that way I can see what's in your collection, so it's really, really great for that. And I think I'm going to start putting my clocks, because I collect clocks, I collect, you know, my military figures, I have a massive DVD collection, I collect a lot of things, and books, but I don't think I'm going to put books on there. I think I will post my clocks. I think that would be of interest to you guys. So yeah, install Snaps on your phone. It's free. It's a great way to share and keep track of what is in your watch collection. And guys, follow me. I'll add a link down below. Also, there's a group as well, a bit like the Facebook group. So yeah, I'll be on there a lot more. I think it's a great social media platform. Okay, so that was number 7. Let's move on to number 8, and it is a watchmaker's screwdriver set. And here is mine. Now, I mentioned Bergeon earlier. Bergeon do make the spring bar tool. They make really nice, high quality, obviously for watchmakers, it's the standard for watchmakers. Although their watchmaker's screwdriver set, which is basically like this, is about 70, I think 70, 80 bucks. This is a little cheapo from, I think it's just, you know, from China or wherever. I don't use it enough to justify spending 70, 80 bucks. To be honest, I really only use one of them, and that is to adjust the screw on, if you've ever adjusted a bracelet, let's say an oyster bracelet on a Rolex, or certain Jubilee bracelets, and the modern ones, they have screw links. Who else uses screws? On the new Omega Seamasters, a lot of the new Tudors do. You don't want to strip or risk damaging the head of the screw, so I really urge you to get some of these. I can't remember where I bought this. This is a cheaper off eBay. I think it was about 10 bucks. If you've got the money, get the Bergeon ones. I just don't, you know, I'm a bit frugal when it comes to these things, so I can spend more money on watches. Yeah, so I do urge you to get a little screwdriver set. Moving on to number 9, and that is Cape Cod. Where is the Cape Cod? Actually, I think it's still in the drawer. I just bought some new one. Cape Cod. Now this stuff, I did do a video a long time ago showing you how to use this. It is fantastic. It really removes those micro scratches, not deep dents, but just very light scratches on high polished surfaces. It gets that shine back. So this is for silver, gold, brass, copper, bronze, nickel, stainless steel, chrome and aluminium. Also, it has this delicious smell. It smells like Pandoro. If you guys know what Pandoro cake is from Italy, yeah, you almost want to eat it. The only thing is, I think these are about, how much are these? Yeah, $8 to $10, Amazon, eBay again. You can get a big tub of it, but I like these ones because they're resealable. And as the name suggests, Cape Cod. It's made in the USA and it's not that expensive. I'm more of a tool watch kind of a guy, although there are certain watches that I do like to keep pristine. For some reason my Navi timer, I like it, you know, that high polish that the brightening do so well. I like to keep that looking mint. Number 10, well, you can see it behind me, is a watch winder, and poetic timing. It is going. This, I think this is from Wolf. This is rather expensive. I think they're about 160 something bucks. But you can get them in fun colors. Look, to be honest guys, it's really not that worth going, you know, spending that much. I just wanted it because it fit my desk here. I have another one, a Versa one, which I reviewed 3 years ago now when I just started the channel. It's still going. The thing is with cheaper ones, sometimes the motors inside, they degenerate and start squeaking and making a noise. My Versa one, which costs 60 bucks, it's a double one, so it's like this, but you know, twice. It's luck of the draw. It really is. It's still running perfectly well. This one, you have different settings on the back. Maybe you want it to go for 15 minutes per hour or something. I forget the settings. This is really, really nice. It is deadly silent. The motor in these more expensive ones are a little bit higher quality than the Versa. Also, the Versa, it's an ugly kind of, it's an ugly looking thing, whereas this is really cool. Now, watch winders, there's the never-ending discussion, especially watchmakers. Personally, if you have a big collection like mine, I have 2 or 3 in rotation. So I have my Versa, and then I have this. I have about 4 watches in rotation at a time. I use them for ease of use. Grab this one. You see, I've got the Squala in here. I'm probably going to wear that later, so I you know, saves me having to set it and go into my bigger collection. If you do store your watches, you want to wind it once a month, something like that. Get it going so the oils don't. What's that word? Coagulate? Coagulate? Is that the right word? Yeah. So you keep it. You know. It's like an engine of a car. You want to run it. You don't want to have it sit in the garage and, you know, all dry up. The oils in a watch are the same way. It's only out of necessity, right? You don't need a watch winder, but it's about ease of use. That's what it is. It's about, you know, especially if you're like me, you don't really have time to wind lots of watches. They do come in useful. So that's up to you to decide. Okay, so that was my top 10. Now I've put in one more extra. This is not really necessary, but I do feel it should be mentioned, and that is, I have it right down here, a de-magnetizer. Now, if you saw that video I did a long time ago, the magnetism video. Magnetism, I would say, is probably in the top 3 things that can really mess up your watch. The first is obviously shock and bashing it about. The second is definitely water damage. And third is magnetism. It can muck up a movement. You can typically tell because your watch will start gaining a ridiculous amount of time. It will suddenly go from, you know, +4 or 5 a day as normal, or whatever your average is, and then it will be minute, it will start gaining. That is usually a telltale sign. Now, before you go and spend a fortune at a watchmaker or sending it off to a repair center, buy one of these off eBay. They're about 10 bucks. Have a go, and you can demagnetize it yourself. I did a whole video, you know, the famous magnetism video. I'll add a link down below. Very easy to do, because look, you spend 10 bucks on this very cheap little thing, and if you can sort it out yourself, it's instant. It really does work. Now, if it doesn't work, that means there's probably something more serious with your watch, and you should send it in. So a demagnetizer, I would say, is pretty much not an essential, but you know, for $10, it's a $10 investment. You never know when you need it. Which watch was Yeah, my Tudor, the Tudor Henry, it was magnetized. I demagnetized it. In fact, I think I used that as the example in the video. And it worked. It worked. It saved me sending it to Saltzman, or who, you know, that's my watch maker of choice, by the way. It saved a lot of time and effort, and I was able to sort it out myself. So yeah, it's for $10. Who can go wrong? Anyway, guys, so that's about it. That is my top 10. Well, top 11 really. Guys, do add your suggestions. What do you feel are great accessories that watch collectors should consider? Please do nominate your suggestions in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback, especially on this. Okay guys, so I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful. And as always guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.